Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Nason. I am Research Director from Parks Associates. I handle our entertainment research practice. And today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Christopher Ray from Verimatrix. Christopher, how you doing today?
Good. How are you doing, Steve?
Great, great. I just want to give everyone a brief introduction.
Great. So Christopher Ray, I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales for Asia Pacific at Verimatrix. I've been with the company for about 15 years now after having run the operations for the company.
Awesome, great. So really appreciate your perspective today. And really, Christopher, I wanted to focus on kind of the role of technology in the video space and kind of the trends that you've been following over the last several years, even through the market today.
Sure. So I think obviously coming from a DRM and security perspective, we've seen a lot of sort of evolution of the video going into OTT coming from cable and satellite. And I think one of the more interesting aspects of everything moving towards OTT is the aspect of low latency streaming. I think we're going to see a lot more kind of tipping point events where that becomes the default place where live events like sports, concerts, etc. Start showing up. And I think that's going to put a lot more interest on individual branded apps, from let's say the NFL, NBA, NHL, etc. To provide more value because they're going to be having the fastest broadcast of the content, but also being able to wrap that in with additional value-added metadata and things like that. So I think that's an area that we're really interested in watching continue to evolve and grow.
Okay, and really, as you mentioned, since you mentioned it, kind of the metadata, what specific types of data or metrics are you kind of tracking as it relates to security or your business specifically?
Sure. So from our perspective, we're not necessarily going to be looking at the metadata, but I think the overall trends of being able to get user information about what people are watching helps feedback into creating better content. And I think if you start adding things like machine learning on top of that, you can not only have better predictive abilities for what people are going to be looking for, but also how to provide a better experience for them, better streaming decisions about what you put onto the CDN at the edge, about things like that. And I think on top of that, you're also looking at the ability to make things more optimized and being able to do that in a more cost-effective way with AI and ML than you are with traditional human-based activities.
Yeah, and as you mentioned it, obviously AI, machine learning has become top of mind for a lot of companies in this space, obviously including yourself. So what really are the enhancements that those technology advancements can provide?
I think AI and ML can really be used in any place where there's an opportunity to manage efficient real-time operations faster and at scale. Certainly when you're delivering content from a few thousand people to millions or potentially billions of people, you can do that and find those hidden anomalies and correlations and patterns in large data sets and be able to have systems that are constantly learning and adapting and improving themselves with all these different data points over time, which I think then feeds into helping the business leaders make a much more informed decision about how to run their particular business. And certainly from a security perspective, that's critical in an anti-piracy battle where you're constantly looking for what are the trends of people hacking things, certain devices and so on that can only be done at scale across millions of users.
Yeah, that's great. That's great perspective. And kind of spinning it forward to kind of wrap up, where do you kind of see the next phase in the video space, and specifically from your perspective, or just any general trends you want to focus on in the security, content security space?
Sure. So I think you're going to see more content getting created that's more niche content, and that's going to have a bigger audience. Certainly during the pandemic, we've seen things like chess bubbling up as a new sport that people are starting to watch. Huge channels on Twitch where people can go, and there's a huge interest certainly with things like Queen's Gambit on Netflix.
Right, I've been watching that, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. That have been able to bubble things up that previously may have been kind of buried or been kind of a bit of a subculture. So I think with a lot more data coming in about people, what they're watching and so on, you're going to start to see more interesting content get created and bubbled up. I think you're also going to see more blending of services and data. Certainly as you've got what you're watching on Netflix, what you're buying on Amazon, what you're listening to on Spotify, I think you're going to start to see all these coming together so that you have more services that are picking up and saying, hey, listen, I noticed that you're following this actress on Instagram, you've liked this type of movie on Netflix before, and you listened to this playlist last week. Here's some content that kind of mixes all that together that we think that you might be interested in watching. So I think there's going to be more integration of these siloed services today to do overall recommendations across all the platforms.
That's great. Well, really appreciate you joining us today, Christopher. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Great. Thanks a lot, Steve. Take care.